Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story, which comes from Specialist Arms 8732 and says, husband 30 male and I 28 female. Opened our relationship and now everything is terrible. My husband and I have been married for 6 years. Together for 8. My husband, I'll call him Eric, has always been a really intense person, but he's a good man. When we got together, I had noticed he had a much higher sex drive than I did. But I would usually have sex with him when I wasn't in mood anyway because I love him. He's never vocalized any problems until somewhat recently. I should also mention, just before we got married, we talked about having kids. I'm indifferent to kids where he doesn't want them, so agreed not to have them. Over the last year, my sex drive has been almost non-existent. I've been checked by doctors and they say nothing is wrong physically, but I should talk to a therapist, which I haven't done yet. I haven't even been able to just have sex like I was doing. About 4 months ago, he sat me down and we talked about all this, and he said he needs sex, which I told him I understood, but I can't give that to him right now. We argued for a bit and he ended up sleeping on the couch. In the morning, he suggested we open the relationship. I was heartbroken. He explained that we either give this a try or end the relationship. So I agreed. We set boundaries. No bringing the person to our house ever. No talking about it. Always use protection and regularly get tested. He agreed to all of this. I was actually surprised how okay I was with this as the months moved along. Even when he texted me that he was going to be late, or when he'd kiss me and tell me that he has plans that night, it almost felt like a burden was lifted from me. Well, yesterday my husband sat me down again and said he had something really difficult to tell me. For the last couple of months he's been seeing this one girl and she's pregnant. I think I disassociated a little because I heard him talking but couldn't understand the words he was saying. When I came back to reality, I asked if it was his and is she keeping it? Yes and yes. He plans on being in the child's life actively. I asked him who she was and he told me. It's someone I know. Not well, but I do know who she is. I'm utterly heartbroken. I haven't told family or friends yet. I asked him not to. I asked him if he wants a divorce. He didn't say no. He's basically leaving it up to me. So I guess my question is, do I cut my losses and move on, or give this marriage another try? I posted an update if anyone wants to know how our conversation went. And we'll cover that shortly. Ultimatums in these stories have rarely been a good choice. And giving your partner the ultimatum of, opening the relationship or ending it, I could just never, ever seeing ending well. It kind of felt like, to me, as I was reading this, opening up that relationship, which it sounded like you was forced to do if you wanted to keep your relationship, has opened your eyes slightly by the sound of it. You said when he was going out in the evenings, you felt like a burden was being lifted from you. And personally, obviously, I can't tell you because I'm not in the relationship at all, but I think it's time to walk away from it. And there's a couple of questions. You said it's someone you know, but not that well. Has he specifically opened this relationship just to get with this person? And you still want to be a part of this mess in the future? For me, I'm out. It sounds like he's checked out as well. When you asked him if he wants a divorce, he didn't say no. He's leaving it up to you. I mean, what the fuck? Abelta says you agreed to an open relationship. You didn't want instead of just ending the marriage. Obviously now you need to end the marriage. You didn't want to be in an open relationship and you were obviously not going to be okay with your husband raising some other woman's kid. Another commenter says you didn't mention how you handle finances in the relationship. Be aware that your husband's impending parenthood with someone else certainly impacts his finances, and that in turn will affect yours. If your finances are wholly separate, his ability to do fun stuff like travel or go in on a house remodel or even splash out at a nice restaurant is going to be constrained by child rearing expenses. If your finances are joint, congratulations, you are now underwriting the family he's creating with another woman. Money aside, the introduction of a child adds a time constraint to your life that wasn't there before. Your husband has announced he intends to be an active parent. Any weekend plans you want to make, you have to make sure they don't interfere with his family time. Same for holiday plans. If you're the celebrate Christmas types, that whole period is about to be hijacked for the magic of the holidays with children. Your husband has made it clear that he's centering his life and his wants. Whether or not you're along for the ride is your call. What are you getting out of this arrangement? OP responds to that and says, we have a joint account for household expenses, but keep our money separate otherwise. He makes exceptionally more than I do, and has always wanted to keep his money his, which I never had a problem with because I work and make enough money for myself. I never thought about the holiday plans. My family is pretty big on Christmas and Easter. I wouldn't even know how to explain why he's not there. Next user says, why would you want to be with someone that went against the agreement you both had together by getting someone pregnant and also reneging on the fact that he didn't want kids? Can you really envision your future of being the side piece and afterthought when there's a child involved? Staying with him when he wants to be involved in raising a child outside of your marriage with someone else just sounds like hell on earth waiting to happen. Opening a relationship almost always leads to a failing marriage's endpoint. I would also start that therapy as of yesterday, as this is a whole new ball game. One more comment from Prof Plum Did It, who says, here's what really happened. He knew you didn't want to lose him, so he gave you the open or divorce ultimatum. He had already started checking out and knowingly used the open relationship to shop around and start moving on without having to give up anything. And now he's put the burden of officially ending it on you, so he can tell people later that everything that happened was your choice. He's also counting on you being emotionally devastated and not thinking clearly so that you aren't thinking clearly about your own best interests. He has no respect for you, doesn't care how much he's hurt you, and has already built a new life without you right under your nose. Your best course of action is telling him that you need to stay away to give you time to think and use that time to book therapy and meet with the most shark-like lawyer you can find and file for divorce. Don't tell him, just get him served and direct all communication to go through your lawyer. He wants everything his way. Don't give it to him. So OP does update the post and says, we're getting a divorce. He came home yesterday after we had a long, very emotional talk. I asked him questions that I never asked when he told me she was pregnant. He admitted to not using protection. He says he never slept with her before we opened the relationship, but he did kiss her. He said she's the only one he slept with. He said the night before he gave me the open or divorce ultimatum, when we argued about sex, was a last-ditch effort to get me to work on things. He admitted that he should have just asked for a divorce instead of opening the relationship. He also said that I share some blame in the marriage falling apart, which I agree with. I asked him if he remembers if I was always like this. He said in the first 1 to 3 years of our relationship, I was enthusiastic about having sex, even if my sex drive was low. He admitted he hasn't been in love with me for a while, and he's in love with this other woman. I asked why he suddenly wants kids. He said he slowly changed his mind about kids over the years, but never said anything because our relationship has been so broken that it wouldn't have mattered. He thinks I didn't go to therapy because of my parents. They're very conservative and religious and believe if you pray hard enough, God will give you the answer. And he thinks I subconsciously have an aversion to therapy because of them. I asked him if he hasn't been in love with me for a while, why not divorce me when he realized that? He told me he loves me, and he was in love with me once, and he wanted to make his marriage work. When he kissed her, he realized it was probably too late, but said there was a part of him that didn't want to leave me. He never expected to fall in love with her. He asked me if I was still in love with him, and I said I didn't know. He said that probably means no. We agreed a divorce is the best thing we can do for ourselves and each other. We also agreed to make divorce as painless as possible. I want to sell the house. He agreed and said he'd move out in the meantime. He said whatever he doesn't take with him, I can keep or sell. We didn't talk about alimony or anything. I'll let my lawyer and his lawyer deal with that, but I'm not sure I'm entitled to it since I work a decent job. And from what I've read, in my state that might be enough for a judge to say no. I feel pretty numb right now. I don't think I have the energy to cry anymore. I still haven't told anyone. He said he'll wait to tell people until we get lawyers involved because it was going to be a mess with family and friends once they find out. Anyway, that's all. He's gone and I'm laying in bed still processing everything. Surprisingly, I don't hate him. I'm not mad. I made a promise to myself to contact the therapist on Monday, and I'm holding myself to that this time. I want to thank everyone for the advice, as harsh as some of it was. That's bloody incredibly sad for OP that's going on in their lives, but I really couldn't see an alternative to this at the moment. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from a throwaway account and says, I, 23 male, commented on my girlfriend's 22 female stomach pudge, and now she's upset and insecure. What can I do to fix this? My girlfriend and I have been dating for a little over a year, and we were friends before that. She likes to read romance novels, and I will occasionally snoop through them when I'm at her place just to see what kind of stuff she's into. It's actually how I got the idea of how to ask her out. Anyway, I was flipping through one of these books while she was in the shower last week, and I came across this scene where the male character was kissing his way down the female character's body while stating what he loved about her. E.g., I love the gentle slope of your collarbone, or some shit like that. A few days ago, we were getting freaky on my couch and I decided to try it. I was kissing parts of her body and saying what I loved about them, and she seemed to be into it, until I got to her stomach. I gave her a kiss right under her belly button and said something along the lines of, I love the little pudge on your stomach. This is the moment I fucked up. My girlfriend immediately sat up and covered her stomach, and she looked like she was going to cry. She said something like, I wasn't aware my stomach was pudgy. And I was like, no babe, I think it's really hot, honestly. She did not like that answer, and after a little more back and forth, she went home. If it matters, my girlfriend is fit with curves in all the right places. She just has a curve of what looks like belly fat at the bottom of her stomach. It's genuinely been a huge turn on for me ever since we started dating. I just never told her. At the moment, I saw nothing wrong with pointing it out because I've never seen it as a negative, but I understand how it might have come out wrong to her. I apologized profusely the next morning, and she said it was okay, but when we had sex again, she kinda wrapped her arms around her stomach and put her shirt on immediately afterwards. She also didn't want to take a shower with me, which is something we usually do after sex. She said something like, no, I took a shower this afternoon, but she usually showers at night. Maybe I'm reading into it too much because she told me she was over the incident, but I'm scared that my comment has made her insecure and worst of all uncomfortable around me. What can I do to fix this? Should I even do anything? I think you know, I know, everyone knows that you fucked up. But I think it's also pretty evident that you care about your girlfriend and her feelings, and you certainly didn't intend to hurt her. So whilst you might have seen it as a genuine compliment or playful, it's obviously seen a lot differently to her. And I think it's just got to be seen as a learning moment, like understanding body image issues and, the social pressures around them. And I personally feel like the only way this will be solved is through time and communication. You've apologized already, but maybe just sit down again and have that deep one-to-one conversation with her about how you understand that comment may have hurt her. Talk to her about how it may have affected her if she's open to it, and just give her time, I believe. And the first few comments on this one were like, you just fucked up. But someone says, the term pudge often used synonymously with fat. I won't be surprised that she'll be insecure around you for a while now. She's just saying to you that she's over the incident, but really, she's not, as you can see. She's still uncomfortable around you, and you can't quite force her to be comfortable immediately. It'll be on her own time when she may be able to put her guard down. What to do? Well, for one, you should always show her that you find her attractive and tell her how attractive and sexy she is. Be mindful of what you say next time. Good luck. Someone replied to that. Kitty says, trust is lost in buckets and gained in drops. I Am Winning says, I don't think men realize how the media in our society brainwashes women to think any curve in the belly is bad. Even some super fit women will complain because their stomach isn't flat. Any comment directed to her specifically about her stomach being rounded is going to be taken as an insult. One thing I've learned on Reddit is that many men actually love it. Give her time to heal. Reassure her that you think she is beautiful. Apologize again for your poor choice in words and let her know how much you love her body. Sorry Setting says, pudge? Bad choice of words, my dude. And have a little bit of a tummy too. And the guy I'm seeing did a similar thing during sexy time. And don't get me wrong, he made it very clear that it was complimentary, but it still made me feel a little weird because it was like there was a spotlight on part of my body that I'm a little self-conscious about, I didn't say anything or get mad though, because again, I knew his intentions were all good. I wouldn't continue to bring it up and apologize because that's just going to make your girlfriend feel even more embarrassed and uncomfortable. Dry Ask says, oh my god, phrasing. I love your pudge is not the same as I love the gentle slope of your stomach. Seriously, this has to be one of the most obvious boneheaded comments I've ever heard. You called her fat, and most women are extremely self-conscious of that spot. I don't know if you will ever truly be able to repair the damage you caused, but you need to keep trying to reassure her. And the final comment says, my first boyfriend made a comment like this. He says, I like your little belly. You look like you could have a little baby in there. Turned out he had quite the breeding fetish, and that was the first clue. But at the time, I just filed it away as an odd comment to make. It didn't really bother me because I didn't have any insecurities about that part of my body. Nowadays, I do have a large belly roll, and it wouldn't bother me if my boyfriend commented on it, even as a compliment. I think her reaction is more about how she feels about her body than what you said. There's really nothing you can do about it except to keep showing her that you love her and you're attracted to her. Just keep the comments to other parts of her body that she'd be less insecure about. Some advice for the future. It's often best to keep compliments to things she has control over instead of God-given attributes. For example, the way you styled your hair today is really cute. It will be more well received than I like your hair. And if you're going to take advice from romance novels, make sure they're written by women, not men. However, looking at what she is reading is not really a great idea. Lots of women, me included, like to read about things that we don't necessarily like to experience. Sometimes we fantasize about sexual acts that we really have no desire to do in real life. If you are having doubts as to whether you're doing enough to please her or how to please her, then it's best just to ask. So OP does update the post and they said, hi again. Thank you to everyone who commented on my post yesterday. I realize now that I, as a man, will never understand the societal pressures that women face with their bodies. It was wrong of me to assume that my girlfriend would take my comment as a compliment just because I saw it that way. I called up a few of my female friends, explained the situation in vague terms, and they gave me some great advice as well. I went to my girlfriend's place today and just groveled, bought her flowers and food from her favorite Thai place. I then attempted to explain how I fucked up through a feminist lens based on what my friend told me over the phone. She just laughed at me and told me to stop mansplaining feminism. I showed her the Reddit post I made. She got a good laugh out of that as well. My girlfriend explained to me that she used to be kind of chubby as a kid, and her brothers and cousins would poke her stomach and call her gulab jamun, which is an Indian dessert. My girlfriend is Indian. Anyway, her stomach was a source of insecurity for her until she lost the baby fat. But any comments about her fat are still hard to hear. She said it might take her a little while to fully get over my comment, but she's reassured that I love her body and I don't see her as fat. I bought her this dress she's been wanting from Paloma Wool, and I'm taking her out to her favorite high-end restaurant this weekend to see Oppenheimer for the third time. She loves Oppenheimer, but in one of those 70 IMAX theaters. I will continue to worship the ground she walks on until she regains full confidence in herself. And beyond that as well, I love my girlfriend. Now, I'm super glad that you was able to communicate and get through this together as a couple. There was lots of people in that post sharing their own stories with like societal pressures around this particular issue. And good job, for doing the whole dress, the meal and the movie stuff as well. And I hope things continue to move down the right path for you both. It's, it sounds like you got a lovely relationship. But now, what do you guys make of this situation? How would you deal with it if it was you? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. But just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved, truly. And if you do love these stories, at the very end of the video, there'll be a couple of playlists there that you can click on and it will automatically scroll through all the videos for you. Like I always say, maybe you're out in the garden doing a bit of gardening. Maybe you're just on a long drive. Don't forget to let me know what you're up to as well. At Mark Narrations over on Twitter. It will keep playing those videos for you. Thank you so much, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. You bloody cheeky so-and-so.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. Drink some water, brush my bed and I stretch. Bet in my hair is a mess. Look through my